Good morning and welcome to the Committee on Ways and Means. Committee Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Assembly members Anderson, Backus, Brown May, Dickman, Hafen, Hibbets, Howdegi, Koenig, Mosca, O'Neill, Torres Fawcett, Watts, Yeager, and Chair Monroe Moreno.
And I am here. Good morning to everyone joining us here in Carson City and those in Las Vegas and those that are joining us online. I know the meeting was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, but we're at that time of session that there are meetings, even before those meetings. So I appreciate your patience and the fluidity of as we're doing things. Today, we have a number of bills that are on our agenda. I will not be taking the bills in order of the agenda. We will be having public comment. It will be at the end of today's meeting. If you'd like to call in for public comment, the number is 888-475-4499. Our meeting ID is 897-8722-3724, and then please press pound. And when I say the end of our meeting, I'll warn y'all, we were here for over 12 hours yesterday, so we will be breaking for a caucus between 10:30, 10:45, depends on where we're at with the bills, coming back to finish up bills that are not on that we have not finished on the agenda, and doing a work session of bills. If you are here for AB 540, go have breakfast, maybe even lunch. There's some work being done on that bill. So that would be the very last bill we'll be hearing today, and it might even happen after the work session, depending on the work being done on that bill. So I don't want you to sit around all day for nothing. So you can have lunch, have breakfast, take a nap, because we're not getting any, so take a nap for us, and then we'll see you later today. Members will be using their electronic devices, their laptops. I ask that everyone either mute or turn off your electronic devices. Please do not take their use of their computers as inattentive. They'll be following along and looking at exhibits on their computers. This is the Fiscal Committee. So when testimony happens here, it's on the fiscal aspects of the bill, not the policy of the bill. Almost 99% of the bills that get to our committee have already had a policy hearing, so we're not here to discuss that, just the fiscal aspects of it. But even in discussing fiscal aspects, sometimes people hear things they don't appreciate. I expect respectful interaction with everyone, and if someone chooses not to be respectful and disrespectful, I have absolutely no problem escorting people out of my committee room, and that even includes the members. So I expect that from everyone. So with that, we will open the first hearing today, and as I said, we'll be taking a few things out of order, and we're going to start with Assembly Bill 375. And Assembly Bill 375 revises provisions relating to intoxicating liquor. And we'll invite Speaker Yeager and Assembly Member Gurr to the table. Good morning. Assembly Member Gurr, I think this is your first time before Ways and Means, so welcome to Ways and Means.
Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chair Monroe Moreno, Vice Chair Backus, members of the Assembly Ways and Means Committee. Happy Friday, happy deadline day, and thank you for hearing this bill. My name is Steve Yeager. I represent Assembly District 9 in Southwest Las Vegas. With me at the table, as you mentioned, Chair, we have Assembly Member Gurr, who represents the Elko area. And then to my right, we have Mr. Saba from the Nevada Restaurant Association. I got that right? Okay. It is an honor to present Assembly Bill 375 in its first reprint to you this afternoon. Because this is not a policy committee, we're going to be brief with our remarks, but we do want to speak to the fiscal notes and the potential positive economic impact of this legislation to our small businesses and to the state as a whole, because I think that is important for a money committee to consider. Essentially, Chair, this bill allows a local government to enact an ordinance that allows alcohol to be delivered. In addition, it allows the Department of Taxation to establish a user fee not to exceed 50 cents per drink to be earmarked to use in combating DUI cases, something that concerns us all. I know we all see the news coverage of really terrible driving under the influence cases, and so this fee will be used to fund enforcement, education, and other associated things with that account. Chair, I wanted to let you know you should have this on Nellis. I am proposing 4 different amendments. They come in a conceptual form here, and 2 of them I think are especially important for this committee because they take care of the fiscal notes on the bill. Amendment 1 is to remove the fiscal note from Dieter, and it just clarifies that they do not have to provide the education associated with this bill. Amendment number 2 addresses the fiscal note from the Department of Taxation. There is going to be a cost to the Department of Taxation to collect and administer the fee that is anticipated in the bill. So the way we are proposing to amend this so there's no state general fund impact is that the Department of Taxation can use up to $250,000 of that fee for the costs of carrying out the provisions so that we don't have to supplement that. So essentially the user fees will first fund the Department of Taxation and their needs, and then the rest of that will go into that DUI account I referenced. Amendments 3 and 4 are not related to fiscal. They are more policy driven, and I'll just mention them quickly for the record. Amendment number 3 makes clear that we're not trying to get around the licensing required for packaged liquor distribution. So, this really is intended for restaurants, and so we're just saying there you can't deliver packaged liquor unless you have the appropriate license. And that amendment was proposed by Liquor World, represented by Mike Sullivan. And then amendment number 4 is on behalf of Farino Distillery. Jesse Wadhams is their government relations person. And this essentially just allows the pecan liqueur. There's only one license for that. And so we're allowing that one individual through this bill to be able to do some things they wouldn't otherwise be able to do under statute, and that really is indicated in the bill that they may be able to deliver that directly, to have tastings. And so really that amendment is to make sure the pecan punches can still be made. And I should mention, I didn't mention it, there is another part of this bill, and that is to designate the pecan punch as the official state drink of Nevada. That got a lot of testimony in the other committee. I don't think it'll get a lot here. And so, Chair, that is really the entirety of that amendment. If you would allow, I'd like to hand it over to Mr. Saba, and before he goes, I'll note that I think we presented to the committee just a fiscal impact summary that you should have as an exhibit. We're not going to go through all of this because I know we're in Ways and Means, but Mr. Saba just wants to talk a little bit about what this bill could mean for Nevada's small businesses. I think that's an important consideration, so thank you for your time, Chair.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Peter Saba, S-A-B as in Bravo A. I'm the Senior Government Affairs Manager for the Nevada Restaurant Association. Thank you for the opportunity to walk through the economic and fiscal value of Assembly Bill 375. We believe this bill both generates revenue and funds public safety without placing new financial burdens on the average taxpayer. Let me start with the fiscal note submitted by the Department of Taxation. It estimates a total administrative cost of approximately $225,000 over the biennium, primarily covering programming, compliance oversight, and auditing tied to the new category of alcohol-to-go sales from restaurants. These are legitimate costs, but will be offset almost immediately by the revenue this bill will generate. Based on the national averages, the typical restaurant in an alcohol-to-go state sells about 127 drinks to go per week. Multiply that by the 3,500 plus eligible restaurants in the state of Nevada, and you're looking at over 22 million drinks sold annually right here in the state. At an average of $13 per drink, that translates to an estimated $286 million in new annual restaurant revenue. That alone generates up to $24.5 million in new sales tax revenue each year without raising existing state taxes. Over $11 million annually through the built-in 50-cent surcharge, which goes directly into Nevada's Ignition Interlock Device Program to support DUI prevention, treatment, and enforcement. As the committee knows, the surcharge is a targeted user fee embedded in a voluntary transaction, no cost to the general public, and no new tax on small businesses themselves. What's more is that the Department of Taxation already regulates liquor transactions and has the infrastructure in place to administer and track compliance. Based on the fiscal note, the return on investment is extraordinary. The entire cost of implementation could be covered within the first 2 to 3 weeks of alcohol to go operations statewide through sales tax and surcharge revenue alone. AB 375 is also a jobs bill in a fiscally responsible form. Nevada's restaurant industry supports over 223,000 workers, which is roughly 12% of the state's total workforce. If restaurants experience the projected 10% growth, we anticipate increased hiring, more stable hours for existing staff, and broader economic ripple effects throughout related sectors from delivery drivers to breweries, distilleries, and packaging suppliers. In this budget cycle, every dollar counts. AB 375 injects new, recurring revenue into Nevada's economy without pulling from the general fund or burdening the state. And because the 50-cent surcharge directly funds DUI prevention, the state benefits again by reducing future costs tied to impaired driving, which, as you all know, can be significant both fiscally and socially. Every drink sold via this program means dedicated funding for enforcement, treatment, and prevention. In short, AB 375 is a rare win-win. It grows revenue, supports small businesses, funds public safety, and costs the general taxpayer nothing. The administrative costs are modest and already accounted for. The economic benefit is recurring, and the public safety return is built in. At a time when we're all looking for ways to responsibly grow Nevada's economy, AB 375 does just that with minimal costs, maximum return, and full accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Chair Monroe-Marino and Vice Chair Howdigi and committee. I think that they have covered everything except the one sentence that I've got, and it's a policy sentence, so we don't need to do that in here. Suffice it to say, though, if you pass this bill, there will be plenty of pecans sold through the system. And also, if you've all looked at, you should have a pecan pin at your place now, I hope. And just thank you. This is a really important bill for an awful large population in the state of Nevada. There's a lot of Basque folks who are just dancing about this. Thank you.
Steve Yeager for the record. Thank you, Chair. And we would now be open for questions about either the fiscal notes or anything else in the bill.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to need to free up a seat. So, Mr. Saba, could you take a step back? And then I'll ask those that have fiscal notes. We'll start with the Department of Employment with Dieter. If you can come up and speak to your fiscal note, and then we'll move on to the Department of Taxation. Good morning.
Good morning. For the record, Chris Sewell, Director of the Department of Employment Training and Rehabilitation, also known as Dieter. Yes, with the conceptual amendment the Speaker brought today, our fiscal note will go down to, I think your favorite word this week is zero. So we will get that taken care of.
Thank you so much, and thank you for putting that on the record, and that is the favorite word of the week, or the month. If there's a representative here from the Department of Taxation that can speak to that fiscal note. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Joe Bernardi, Deputy Director for the Department of Taxation. Yes, the amendment number 2 that the Speaker mentioned in his testimony removes our fiscal note entirely.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Members, any questions for the Assembly members concerning this bill? I have a question. Assemblymember Hottigy.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. I was just looking at the fiscal impact summary you provided, and I had one quick question under the Finding DUI prevention programs. So the surcharge of the 50 cents per drink sold. So if a restaurant sells a bottle of wine, would that be 50 cents or would it be $1 because there's 4 glasses of wine, 4 drinks?
Steve Yeager for the record. I think you have to check that math. If it's 4 drinks, it'd be $2, not $1. But no, the intent is per drink sold. So I mean, to answer your question, really, if they sold a bottle of wine, I would consider that like one beverage, right? Maybe not for everybody. Some of you it probably is one beverage, but if someone just ordered like a glass of wine or maybe a couple glasses of wine, I think it would be on a per drink basis. I will say I have had folks just ask if we could make that 50 cents per order rather than per drink. And I'm not in favor of that change because, this money is going to a really good purpose. And I didn't get a chance to say this because it's more policy based, but we talk a lot in this building about penalties for offenses and particularly DUIs, because you see the same thing I do. There are people that are driving impaired. Penalties work to an extent, but you know what really works? Education, enforcement. The number one deterrent to crime is the chance of getting caught. And you all see this. If you're driving and you're speeding and you see a police officer, you immediately slow down or hit your brakes, right? And so if we have more officers and more, training, more DUI checkpoints out on the streets, that's going to result in a reduction of DUI. So I think this money is really important, and I want to keep it on a per drink basis rather than a per order basis. And obviously I don't have to tell this committee, but if we find out that that's like way too much money, which seems like that's never happens, but a future legislature could come back and reduce that. And by the way, the Department of Taxation has the regulatory authority, and it's up to 50 cents. So I think they would have the ability to say, you know what, 50 cents is really generating way more money than we thought. They could always reduce that through regulation, or we could do it through statute. But I think 50 cents is a good place to start, and I believe Mr. Saba indicated that would be approximately $11 million annually. So even when you subtract the $250,000 for the Department of Taxation, think about what that $10.5 million can do in a dedicated DUI enforcement program.
I don't think you'll ever hear that we're raising too much money ever stated in this committee, but thank you, members. Any other questions? Assembly Member Hibbets.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Speaker. My question is more technical in how this is going to be implemented. How does the customer know about the charge for the drink? Is it going to be something, do you envision it being something that they would see beforehand to let them know, hey, this charge applies to this, or would it be something that's on their receipt after they get it? I didn't see that in the bill, so I don't know what the intent is there.
Thank you for the question, Peter Saba, SABA. So with the restaurant side, surcharge fee, it would just go automatically at the bottom of the receipt. I envision, and from data from other states, most of these drinks are going to be from deliveries, not the takeout, you come into the restaurant, but that is possible. So it would just be added into those surcharge fees that you see that kind of double your price of the meal at the end of ordering Uber Eats. That it would just be included into that. But yep, and
Steve Yeager for the record. I wanted to get that from the restaurant side, but I think that's exactly right. And, I'll admit I was here over the weekend and I may have used one of those delivery platforms to order way more food than I should have. But you know how it works. You get to the end of it and they line item what the charges are. There's a delivery fee, there's a convenience fee. So I think this would just be another line item that they would list out as, I don't know what they'll call it. It probably depends on the delivery platform. But so it would be disclosed to the member. And you've probably all had that same experience I've had where you get to the end of the transaction and you're like, wow, this is way more expensive than I thought. And then you still press order anyway. It's just the way the world works.
Thank you. Assembly Member Hafen.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Assemblymember Gurr, for bringing this. I look at this bill as DUI prevention. Absolutely necessary, I think, to be able to allow the delivery of these. Is going to prevent people from going on a beer run when they've had too many to drink and shouldn't be doing it. Which leads me to my next question, and that is, you talked about the bottle of wine only being one transaction, and obviously, I like the idea of each order would have the fee instead of each drink. And so my question is let's say somebody orders a 6-pack from a craft brewery, is that going to be one charge, kind of like the bottle of wine, or is that going to be 6 separate charges?
Steve Yeager for the record. I think part of that concern is addressed by the amendment, right? What we don't want is packaged liquor. I'm going to get that phraseology wrong, but that amendment number 3, we really don't want this to just be like delivery of 6-packs and cases of wine. Is really meant to be accompanied by a meal. So, I think in that scenario, my guess is what a restaurant would say is, we'll sell you one at a time, essentially. I mean, it could be a 6-pack, but they're going to count as 6 different drinks if they're sold by that particular restaurant. And I would anticipate as well, I mean, the restaurant will decide how to do it, but I mean, if I'm a restaurant, I'm probably not going to sell a bottle of wine in this way. I'm probably going to break it up into 4 different drinks for economic purposes. You know, I kind of see it, if you want to enjoy the bottle of wine, you come into the restaurant. But the way I would envision that, it would be 50 cents per drink. So it would depend a little bit how that is divvied up. But if they wanted 6 beers, then it would be $3. 4 glasses of wine, $2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, thank you, Assemblymember Gurr, for bringing this bill, and thank you, Chair. I really do appreciate it.
Assemblymember Torres Fawcett.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Speaker, for bringing this piece of legislation. I think it's going to be really helpful to deterring individuals from going out and going on that beer run and driving when they are intoxicated and shouldn't be. My question is whether or not we have other states that have something like some type of similar surcharge. I'm not even sure how many states are already delivering alcohol, but are there other states that have done something similar?
Peter Saba for the record. So there's 30 total states. As of this week, earlier, actually, Utah was the most recent to pass this, so it's pretty funny. But other states absolutely have different mechanisms for who can do this and what it takes to be able to do this. So Kansas charges $1,500 annually. California increased liquor license fees by 3.65%. South Carolina requires a $400 license fee and $1 million in insurance for liability. Maryland allows counties to charge up to $1,000 for alcohol delivery permits. Illinois charges $500 per year. When I started drafting this and kind of building a possible framework for it, I put all the different mechanisms that different states have had, and when I presented it to the speaker, we came up with, or we thought the surcharge fee was the best because it doesn't add another burden on restaurants and small businesses. If you have an on-premise license right now, it automatically translates into an off-premise license for these deliveries, as long as obviously you follow the rules and regulations of it. And the user-based model was coming from my conversations with restaurant owners and what would be the best on them, and if maybe licenses, if we wanted to raise the price for that, or this user-based model, and they all kind of believe that this was the best, most fair and targeted user fee that we could go with.
Thank you. And just a quick follow-up. So then the delivery service platform would collect the fee, and then they would pay that fee to the department that is going to administer this program.
Peter Saba for the record. So you can do it 2 ways. The restaurant, they can add the 50 cent into the price of the drink automatically. I know if you go on Uber Eats currently, you'll see that a burrito on Uber Eats versus the same burrito in the store is a little bit more. So that's the restaurant building in the fees that are going to be taken from them by Uber Eats at the end of sale. So I envision that they will just automatically add those 50 cents at the end of, or at the total price on those apps. And then when it comes times to be audited and understand or figure out how much you owe back to the Department of Taxation, you just see how many drinks to go you sold, times that by 50 cents, and then you pay it. And that's what some of this fiscal note is going for to the audits as well.
Thank you. And there's nothing in this that would then prevent that business from having like an additional like charge, just like that burrito cost $2 more, that drink could cost $3 more, and you just have to pay that 50-cent fee essentially.
Yeah, Steve Yeager for the record. There's nothing in the bill that prevents that, and as we know, consumers will pay for convenience. We all do it, even when we don't like the prices. So nothing in here prevents that, and I would anticipate, that you're right, for businesses are going to probably add a bit of a premium because they've got to do some additional work and some additional packaging to get you not just the cocktails to go, but to get you the food as well.
I know that Assembly Member Dickman has a question, but I'm going to ask a question. Since the food and drinks are being delivered and you cannot serve alcohol if you're not 21, how is this going to impact the Postmates, the Uber Eats? It's a policy question, and I'm sorry about that, but have you thought about how this is going to impact their business model? That might be a question for Mr. Saba.
Peter Saba for the record. So the delivery drivers picking up any order that has alcohol in it, whether currently that's from the grocery store or the retail store, it will not even offer that pickup to a delivery driver who hasn't verified their ID to DoorDash, to Uber Eats, when they were first signing up to be a delivery driver, it needs to be 21 years old, and you have to go through the proper training that they have within their orientation. So yeah, there would never be a delivery driver who's under the age of 21 handling this.
Perfect, thank you. It's good to know that's already in place. Assemblymember Dickman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This might be a policy question too, and I wouldn't have thought of it, but you brought up liability. So who would be liable if these drinks were delivered and say the person went out and drove or did something else bad? You know how like bartenders are sometimes held liable if they overserve or...
Steve Yeager for the record. Well, we have, I'm going to get the phraseology wrong, but right now there is protection in our statute. So bars are not responsible for over-serving, so it really is on the patron. So, I mean, look, could someone sue? Of course, someone can always sue, but I think under the existing laws that we have, unless there was some kind of extreme negligence or intentional, I don't know what the word is. It's Friday morning. My brain's not working. But I think it would be really hard to make a case. So, you know, there's some of that consumer protection. And, you know, I think also it is a bit of a policy question, but I believe the delivery platforms have protocols right now where if they're delivering to somebody and they interact with that person and they're like obviously intoxicated, that they don't serve the drink, and I believe they take it back to the restaurant. So, you know, there are some internal mechanisms for the delivery platforms to protect themselves, but I don't believe the restaurants would have any potential liability.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I'm a personal responsibility kind of believer. But so I just wanted to make sure you're not requiring any sort of additional. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Members, any other questions? All right. Assemblymember Kerr, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of brevity, I forgot to mention a couple things. Number one, it is an economic benefit to pass the pecan punch bill because Farino, who was mentioned earlier, is now the only licensee in the United States that can do this. So the add-ins on the amendments help Farino, help us, help everybody. That, and I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Assemblyman Bert Gurr from District 33. I apologize.
Thank you so much for that. Members, any other questions? Not seeing any. I thank you so much for the presentation, answering the questions of the members. And we will open up for testimony and invite to the tables here in Carson City and Las Vegas anyone who would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 375. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Trevor Parrish with the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber's in support of AB 375 from the fiscal perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. And not seeing anyone else approach the table here in Carson City or in Las Vegas, we'll go to our phone line. Do we have anyone that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 375 joining us by phone?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 375, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers for support.
Thank you so much, and we'll move to opposition. Is there anyone here that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 375? Not seeing anyone approach the table here in Carson City and no one at the table in Las Vegas. We'll go again to the phone line. Do we have anyone that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 375?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 375, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers for opposition.
Thank you so much. We have someone who's joined the table down south. Are you there for testimony in opposition or testimony in neutral?
Opposition.
Go ahead.
Hi, good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Lori Irizarry, spelled Irizarry, and I am the owner of Fingerprinting Inc., a local business offering the alcohol awareness certification courses here in Clark County since 2019. I want to be clear, I do not, I guess it would possibly be neutral, but I do not oppose AB 375 in its entirety. However, I strongly do oppose the deletion of NRS 369.625 as it was presented in Amendment 441, Section 4. This section removes the alcohol beverage awareness card requirement, a safeguard that has been in place in Clark County and Washoe County since the 1980s. This course has been a pillar of responsible alcohol service for decades. It equips servers, bartenders, clerks, and even security professionals with critical knowledge. I urge you to add back 369.625 because it does not, although it does not negatively affect the bills monetarily speaking, as it pertains to this Ways and Means Committee, it would negatively affect and jeopardize the safeguards that protects everyone from the tourists on the Strip to the families all the way in Washoe County. The alcohol awareness card is intentionally designed to be accessible and affordable by law. It cannot cost more than $40. At my business, we charge $15, a minimal fee that reflects our belief in the importance of this training, not profit. That breaks down to less than $4 a year for 4 years. And we often associate this card with bartenders and servers. Some of the largest clients are security professionals. These individuals work high-capacity venues like Allegiant Stadium, large-scale festivals, award ceremonies, and corporate events. All environments where alcohol is heavily consumed. They are the first responders when issues arise, yet they are often the last people we think of when discussing alcohol service training. Arming someone with the knowledge of how to identify intoxication, detect fake IDs, and understand the rules surrounding minors and alcohol is invaluable. Their training does not just protect patrons, it upholds the integrity of events that fuels our tourism economy and protects Nevada's reputation as a safe place to live, work, and visit. If this requirement is eliminated, Nevada will be one of the only major tourism-driven states with no standardized baseline training for people who serve or sell alcohol. That undercuts our commitment to public safety and our communities. At a time when we are expanding the number of businesses allowing to sell or deliver alcohol, it is irresponsible to simultaneously remove the only standardized baseline training in the state that ensures alcohol is served safely and legally. That's not progress, it is a step backwards for Nevada's public safety and accountability. So I urge you to please add back in 369.625 as it does not monetarily affect this bill. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much for your comments. Not seeing anyone else to speak in opposition, we will move to the neutral position. If there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 375, I invite you to the table here in Carson City and the table in Las Vegas. And not seeing anyone approach either table, we will go one last time to our phone line. Do we have anyone joining us on the phone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 375?
If you would like to testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 375, please press star 9 to join the queue. Caller ending in 947, please press star 6 to unmute yourself. Caller ending in 947, please proceed.
Hi, good morning. My name is Melanie Grego. I just want to, I don't know like what the caller before had said about that. The NRS 369.625 is the reason why I'm like in neutral position. So with that, I just think that that's a bit of a concern, I guess. I mean, it's very lighthearted up there, but you know, there have been that have been killed by these DUI charges, and you know, Steve Yeager is very lighthearted about it. So I just want to point out that the AG hasn't said anything about, these children being hit by DUI drivers. And that's a very concerning matter to somebody that has children. So, and last minute, I will yield in moment of silence to the students that have been killed. Thank you.
Could we get your name again for the record? We didn't get that at the beginning of your testimony.
Okay, it is Noemi, Rego, like go.
I apologize. Our connection with your phone line isn't good, but I have your first name, and I think we'll have enough for the record. Thank you so much for calling in this morning. Broadcast, do we have any other callers?
Chair, we have no additional callers for neutral.
Thank you so much. Then we will ask the sponsors of the bill to make any closing comments.
Steve Yeager for the record, Chair, committee members, thank you for your presentation. I would ask the caller who testified in opposition to perhaps send me an email, because I think there's a misunderstanding. There's no attempt here to get rid of the alcohol certification that has to happen for those who are serving alcohol in bars, restaurants. Like, the intent of this amendment was to say the delivery drivers don't have to have that certification. And as I noted, the platforms themselves have their own programs where they cover this already. So I want to make clear that there's no intent to remove that requirement. And obviously what I presented today was conceptual, so legal will do the actual amendment should this committee decide to process it. And just want to say, I think this is actually this bill will prevent DUIs. That's the goal of the bill. It's twofold. As mentioned, I think it'll prevent folks from driving while intoxicated to go out and find more alcohol, which we don't want. And then also the fees that are collected will help prevent and enforce DUIs. So I didn't understand what point was being made there, but let me be clear, this will help mitigate DUIs in our state, which we should all want. So, Chair, again, I'll make sure that gets clarified in the amendment process, and if that individual who testified in opposition, if you'd be so kind as to send me an email detailing your concerns, and I'll make sure that those get taken care of. Chair, thank you for your time, and thank the committee for hearing this bill this morning.
Thank you so much, and thank you for those closing comments. And with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 375. And we will move on to the next bill on our agenda. And again, taking things out of order, we are going to open the hearing for Assembly Bill 502. It's a measure which revises provisions relating to public works. And invite the presenters to the table.
Good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to Ways.
Thank you. Brett Harris, Nevada Labor Commissioner, for the record. And Assemblymember Carter, I believe, is on his way.
We'll stand in a brief recess. Wait for him to get here. There he is.
Good morning, Chair Moreno, Monroe Moreno, I apologize, and members of the Ways and Means. I'm here today to talk about the fiscal note on Assembly Bill 502, which has to deal with the Labor Commissioner's office. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Labor Commissioner to talk about what's going on with the fiscal notes.
Good morning, Brett Harris, Nevada Labor Commissioner for the record. So on the original version of this bill, we had put a fiscal note for 4 positions. Those positions were subsequently approved by this committee in the governor's recommended budget as enhancements. And so on the amended bill, we put a $0 fiscal note so that it could be in harmony with those positions that were already approved by this committee.
And Assemblymember Carter, there were a few fiscal notes, probably the largest from the city of Las Vegas. Have you been in communication with any of the local municipalities concerning their
The
concerns?
Labor Commissioner has, yes, ma'am. And looking at, and I know we're not here to talk about policy, but this bill was meant to actually reduce some of the load on those departments. So I'll let the Labor Commissioner talk to that point.
Thank you so much.
Brett Harris, Nevada Labor Commissioner for the record. I spoke with the city of Las Vegas about their fiscal note. I believe they ultimately amended it. But as Assemblymember Carter mentioned, one of the key purposes of the bill is to make it so that public bodies can refer their public works claims directly to the office to do investigations. So it should actually lessen their compliance responsibilities, not increase them. And that was basically the conversation that we had with the city of Las Vegas.
And through the legislative process and the budgeting process, your office received 4 new FTEs.
Brett Harris, Nevada Labor Commissioner for the record. That is correct, and they are the same 4 that we asked for in the fiscal note. So the same grade, same type classification of position, all of that. So there will be 2 that that were funded for FY26, and this other 2 for FY27.
Perfect. I'm happy to hear that because I'm hoping that there's some other bills that will be coming through Ways and Means and Senate Finance that also have fiscal notes from you for positions. So hopefully the 4 positions that were included in the budget will also take those fiscal notes down to 0 as well. That's what I hope to see. So just putting you on the hot seat. Members, do you have any questions? All right. Not seeing any. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for running over. I'm so sorry. I'll invite to the table anyone that's here to testify in support of Assembly Bill 502.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'd like to thank you guys for hearing this. Labor's Local 872 is in full support in an effort to save time. Can I get my brothers and sisters down south to stand in support, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alexis Motorex with the Nevada Chapter Associated General Contractors here in support of AB 502. It's an industry bill that has been negotiated with all stakeholders to give the Labor Commissioner the resources to efficiently and effectively investigate and enforce violations of NRS 338. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Brian Reeder on behalf of the Nevada Contractors Association. That's the commercial construction industry in Southern Nevada. Also in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning. Wendy Colborn, Chief of Staff for Northern Nevada Building Trades, also in support. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Michael Brady, proud second-generation union member of Liona Labor's Local 169, and we are in full support. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Andy Donahue, Labor Employers Cooperation and Education Trust, in support of this outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else approach the table here in Carson City, and no one at the table. And good morning.
Good morning, Robert Diaz, representing the sheet metal workers with Smart Local 8. We are in support of the bill.
Thank you so much. Not seeing anyone else approach the table in Las Vegas, we'll go to our phone lines. Do we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 502?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 502, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for support.
Thank you so much. We'll move to opposition. If there's anyone here in Carson City or Las Vegas that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 502, I invite you to the seats at the table. And not seeing anyone approach the table here in Carson City or in Las Vegas, we'll go again to our phone line to see if there's anyone that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 502.
To testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 502, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Followed with the last 3 digits, 904, please press star 6 to unmute.
Good morning. My name is Laura Wolf, and I'm an attorney from the law firm of Christensen, James & Martin, and we represent the Southern Nevada Labor Management Cooperation Committee, or LMCC, today. We are mostly in favor of Assembly Bill 502. However, we do have a few objections to the amendment. Those objections are with regard to changing the word from shall to may in NRS section 338.135 and NRS section 338.070 found in sections 2 and 9 of the amendment. The reason the LMCC is objecting to these changes is it allows the Labor Commissioner too much discretion in deciding whether to assess penalties. Based on the LMCC's experience in front of the Labor Commissioner, the penalties are largely not assessed even when the contractor is found to have violated NRS 338. Therefore, we do oppose changing the word from shall to may. And just so you know, one of the LMCC's main purposes is to monitor and investigate public works projects for compliance with both safety and prevailing wage laws. And as such, the LMCC frequently utilizes NRS 338 to bring numerous successful complaints of public works violations by contractors and subcontractors. We also oppose revisions to NRS 338.017, which is in section 4, because of the violations. It's going to change the offenses. It's been the LMCC's experience that a contractor is found to be in violation of NRS 338 has prior offenses, whether or not they were ever discovered previously. So it should not take 2 offenses for a 3-year disqualification when the current statute requires it for the first offense. And finally, our last objection is to revisions to NRS 338.070 with regard to investigations of violations by public bodies. Right now, the public body has 30 days. The amendment allows for a 90-day investigation. And our objection is that this 90 days is acceptable only if the awarding body must complete their investigation during this time. As it is, currently it can take over 2 years for a final determination. Therefore, providing awarding bodies 90 days to investigate would only prolong the investigations that are already taking so many years to complete. And those are the LMCC's only objections to the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you calling in. Broadcast, do we have any other callers?
Chair, we have no additional callers for opposition.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to neutral. If there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 502, I invite you to the tables in Carson City and Las Vegas. And not seeing anyone approach either table, we'll go back to the phone lines one last time to see if there's anyone who has called in that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 502.
To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 502, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you so much. And we will ask the bill presenters if there's any closing comments. He's shaking his head no. So with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 502. Moving on, we will open a hearing for Assembly Bill 52. It's a measure which revises provisions relating to the payment of claims under policies of health insurance. And we'll invite Majority Leader Hodege to the table.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. I'm Assembly Member Sandra Hodege. I proudly represent Assembly District 41, and I'm happy to be here to go over the fiscal notes on Assembly Bill 52. Assembly Bill 52 did have its policy hearing in the Committee of Commerce and Labor, which about half of this committee sits on, so I know that you're familiar with the bill. It's the prompt pay bill for healthcare providers. There were two fiscal notes submitted on the bill, one from Medicaid in the amount of $12 million and one from the PEB in the amount of $790,000. With the amendment that we submitted to Medicaid and to PEB, both agencies removed their fiscal notes and brought them down to zero. We did submit the conceptual amendment to you, Chair, as well as written confirmation from both Ms. Weeks and Ms. Glover on the removal of their fiscal notes down to zero.
Thank you so much. Members, do you have any questions before I invite the agencies to the table to speak to the fiscal notes? Not seeing any questions from members. If you too would join the Assembly member at the table just to speak to the fiscal notes, that would be great. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Stacy Weeks, for the record. Yes, with the amendment carving out Medicaid and Medicaid managed care plans, which was the issue for us, there is no fiscal note at this time.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Celestina Glover, the Executive Officer for Public Employees Benefits Program, and with the carving out of PEB from the provisions of the bill, we too can remove our fiscal note.
Thank you both for confirming that. And then I saw that there was a fiscal note from Clark County. Have you had any communication with them at all?
No, Madam Chair, I must have overlooked that fiscal note. The only fiscal notes I had seen, the other two were at zero, and then the two that I saw for PEB and Medicaid.
That's okay. It doesn't have an impact on the state's budget, but I always like to give them an opportunity to speak to their fiscal note if they were here. So, all right, members, any questions on Assembly Bill 52? Not seeing any. Thank you so much for working with the agencies to get the fiscal notes down to zero. That is my favorite word at this time of session, zero. So we will invite to the table anyone that's here to testify in support of Assembly Bill 52. Not seeing anyone approach the table here in Carson City and no one at the table in Las Vegas. Broadcast, do we have anyone join us on the phone line that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 52?
To provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 52, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers in support.
Thank you so much. We will move to opposition. If there's anyone that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 52, I invite you to the tables here in Carson City and Las Vegas. And not seeing anyone approach either table, we will go to the phone lines again to see if we have anyone joining us that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 52.
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 52, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers for opposition.
Thank you so much, and we will move to the neutral position. If there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 52, I invite you to the tables. Good morning.
Morning, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Ashley Kennedy, representing Clark County. I just wanted to clarify for the record that with the amendment that was presented in the policy committee, so the first reprint, There is no longer a fiscal impact to Clark County because the provisions removed any impact to our self-funded health plan. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Adam Plain, P-L-A-I-N, with the Nevada Division of Insurance. The division did submit a fiscal note on Assembly Bill 52, but it was an undetermined amount, so it probably shows up in Nellis as 0. Wanted to clarify, this is probably perhaps a bit unorthodox of a fiscal note. The fiscal note that we submitted for undetermined doesn't stem from the prompt pay provisions of the bill. It actually stems from Section 1, new language in subsection 6. Requiring the division to establish and carry out a campaign to inform providers of health care and insureds of various statutory provisions, and then also a campaign or program to provide additional support and resources to assist providers in filing prompt pay complaints. The division doesn't have an established infrastructure for these items, and we weren't sure exactly what the bill wanted us to do. We figured that it could be as robust as a all-out media campaign, which could be $500,000 per biennium, or if you wanted the fiscal note to be 0, to be blunt, we would be happy to put a disclaimer or notice on the website, because that's what we get for no fiscal impact, essentially. So we kind of put it in as indetermined, with the idea that the legislative body could appropriate as much or as little money, or authorize us to spend our reserves as much or as little as you please, and we will use that to implement the program to the best of our ability.
Thank you so much for that. And yes, I had not called you up because your fiscal note did say undetermined. I appreciate you coming to the table to explain how it would impact your division. Members, any questions for Mr. Plain? All right, thank you so much. Not seeing anyone else approach the table here in Carson City and no one at the table in Las Vegas to testify in neutral, we'll go to the phone line one last time to see if there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 52.
To provide testimony in neutral for Assembly Bill 52, please press *9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral testimony.
Thank you so much. Then we will ask the bill presenter if they have any closing comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to close with and make sure I got this on the record that I'd be happy to work with the Division of Insurance to make sure that we're giving them clear direction on what we'd like. And if and it's our intent to make that direction to get them to a 0 fiscal note.
Thank you so much for that clarification, and thank you for presenting Assembly Bill 52. And with that, we will close the hearing on AB 52. Moving on to our next bill, we will open the hearing for Assembly Bill 163, which is a measure that enters into the counseling compact, and will invite Assembly Member Hafen to the table.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee. This is the Assembly Bill 163. I am Gregory Hafen II, representing Assembly District 36. This bill would enter the state of Nevada into the counseling compact, and the original idea came from the Southern Regional Behavioral Health Policy Board, which I'm sure you guys all remember me discussing. It was the board that I voted against creating, was appointed on by the Speaker, and have thanked the Speaker for doing it, because it has now become my favorite board, and as such, I volunteered to bring this bill on their behalf. There was a conceptual amendment that has been presented, and basically we were running into implementation problems with the July 1, 2025, and getting the program up and running was going to cost a lot of staff and consulting time. And so by pushing back the date of the effective to January 1 of 2026, the agency was, or the board was able to determine or remove the fiscal note. Would you like me to go into more of the policy, Madam Chair, or leave it at that?
Members, any questions? Assembly Member Backus.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. And so you just indicated that if by pushing the date back that the board removed its fiscal note, but I understand one of the board's concerns for the fiscal impact was the potential negative revenue that may come into it. And I don't know if that really could be ascertained, but can you kind of elaborate on that? And then also with pushing the date back, I know there was the fiscal year 2027 loss as well, but did that also go away? They may need to respond to that. I'm not sure if you can.
I believe that they're here in Las Vegas, ready to testify on that matter.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Joelle McNutt, MCNUTT, and I'm the Executive Director for the State of Nevada Board of Examiners for Marriage and Family Therapists and Clinical Professional Counselors. Thank you for your question, Committee Member Backus. So moving the effective date to January 1 will significantly decrease fiscal impact. One, because our renewal season is on the odd years. Every license, full license, expires by December 31st of every odd year. And so the license term is a 2-year term. If we move it to 2026, we are in a renewal season right now. So we will get all of that revenue. And then in 2026, we can then do regulations to set the fee for the compact application, which will then offset some of that revenue that we could potentially lose 2 years from now. We also don't know how many more counselors will come and operate in the state of Nevada being members of the compact. So yes, our initial feelings were that it would present a loss because we wouldn't have single state licenses, but moving the date really does help in planning for that, for that opportunity for more people to come in under the compact license. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
And thank you for that. Our committee has actually had the privilege of hearing from a couple of bills pertaining to compacts. And so there may be a simple answer, but for, I guess on page 7 of this bill, there's reference to a fee to participate in the compact. With respect to this specific compact, do you have any idea what that fee may be for the state of Nevada? And is that something also that you are taking into consideration with considering regulations to change the fee for the compact?
Thank you for the question. And yes, we do have the ability to set the fee. And so the board has spoken about this last year, that we do want to set the fee that is very similar to our renewal fee, which would be $450. Currently, right now, there are 38 states participating in the compact. And we had a meeting last week that there are similar the state of Arizona is determining their fee now too. And the Compact Commission was on the call. And so of the 38 states, there are states that have 0 compact application fees. And then there are states that have similar fees to what we were thinking of charges. Maryland has a fee of $400. So ranges from 0 to $400.
Let me clarify the question though, with respect to just being
Yeah.
able to participate in the compact with other states who have agreed to participate in compact. Is Nevada going to have to pay a fee to whoever's administrating that? I know there's lists that are kept. Like I know we've heard other compacts that that's like could be like around $6,000 a year. Has now the 38 states are participating? Have they agreed to some price for the state that's agreeing to participate in the compact?
Thank you for clarification there. So the participation in the compact isn't going to have any impact for the state of Nevada. The compact commission attaches a fee to each application. So right now, I think that proposed fee is $35 per application, and that fee is paid by the licensee.
Thank you.
So does that help?
And Chair, if I may elaborate a little bit, the intention of the amendment here is to give the board the time to develop the regulations to make sure that this is revenue neutral going forward and there is no cost burden on the state. And so I just want to thank them for working with us to get that addressed because nobody, obviously in these interesting, chaotic times, we don't want to add an additional burden onto the state. And so by giving them the flexibility in the next 2 years to implement this, the goal and the intent is that it would be revenue neutral to the state.
Thank you, and I do have a question. She made the statement that the current fee is $35. Do you anticipate as the compact grows that that fee would increase to the applicant?
Gregory Hafen for the record. I believe she was referring to the interstate compact fee. That is dealt with through the compact, and Joelle could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that would be mandatory for the individual to sign up that way. They could still go through the state process, and those fees are not being proposed to be changed under this piece of legislation.
Madam Chair, would you like me to clarify?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So the compact commission fee, like Assemblymember Hafen mentioned, is assessed by the compact commission. If a person does not want to participate in the multi-state license, they can still get a single state license through the state of Nevada, and our fees are not changing for that. And right now, based on the meeting that we had last Friday, they do anticipate that they don't want to raise those fees. These are proposed fees, and that wouldn't have any impact for our state. It would be something that's set by the commission.
Thank you so much for that. And could you just state your name again for the record? I know it's repetitive, but you have to do it every time you speak.
Yes, my apologies. Joelle McNutt, Executive Director for the State of Nevada Board of Examiners for Marriage and Family Therapists, Clinical Professional Counselors.
Thank you so much. Members, any other questions? Not seeing any, I'll ask you to just take a step back and we'll invite to the table anyone that's here to testify in support of Assembly Bill 163. Good morning.
Good morning. For the record, Valerie Haskin, VALERIEHASKIN, Rural Regional Behavioral Health Coordinator, and I'm speaking today on behalf of the Rural Regional Behavioral Health Policy Board, the sister board actually to the Southern Regional Behavioral Health Policy Board that Assemblyman Hafen mentioned earlier. The board does support AB 163 for a myriad of policy reasons, but on the fiscal side, when looking at various strategies that can be funded to bolster our behavioral health workforce and the number of clinicians that are available in the state, this is actually one of the lowest cost solutions and would also have one of the most short-term turnaround times to potentially seeing an increase. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Chair and Committee. My name is Sabrina Schnur, SABRINA, SCHNUR, and I'm here today on behalf of the Nevada Primary Care Association, which is the state's federally qualified health centers. The need for behavioral health providers is not even close to being filled in our state, and this frankly makes it easier to hire, and so we are in support. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Chair Monroe Moreno, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Taylor Avery, Taylor Avery, and I am the Manager of Political Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. The Vegas Chamber is in support of the fiscal policy of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else here at the table in Carson City to testify in support, and no one at the table in Las Vegas. Will go to our phone line. Do we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 163?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 163, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for support.
Thank you. Then we will move to opposition. If we have anyone that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 163, I invite you to the tables, both in Carson City and Las Vegas. And not seeing anyone approach either table, we will go to the phone lines to see if we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 163.
To testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 163, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for opposition.
Thank you so much. We'll move to neutral. If there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 163, I invite you to the tables. And not seeing anyone approach the table in Carson City or in Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone line one last time to see if we have anyone who's joined us that would like to testify in the neutral position on Assembly Bill 163.
To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 163, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you so much. We'll ask the bill sponsor if you have any closing remarks.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that if you do go on to Nellis, there is well over 100 individuals, counselors, therapists that have submitted support on this bill. And I would just, as our next few days, hopefully only days, remain and our mental health wears on, I would just urge you to help support bringing additional counselors into the state. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much for presenting this bill. And with that, we will close the hearing for Assembly Bill 163. And we will move to the next bill on our agenda and open the hearing for Assembly Bill 259, which is a measure that establishes provisions governing prescription drugs. And we'll invite Assembly Member Considine to the table. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Monroe Moreno and members of the committee. My name is Venetia Considine, and I have the honor of representing Assembly District 18. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 259 to this committee. This bill was heard in March in the Commerce and Labor Committee, the Assembly Commerce and Labor Committee. Assembly Bill 259 is about taking an opportunity to provide relief to those Nevadans who are dealing with significant health issues. The bill is designed to reduce the cost of certain high-cost, non-competitive, life-changing drugs by extending the benefits of federally negotiated Medicare drug prices under the Inflation Reduction Act to Nevadans who are not on Medicare and need those specific life-sustaining drugs. I brought this bill in 2003. It was AB 250 then, and there were no fiscal notes. However, the bill was vetoed. This session, there is a fiscal note with a monetary amount, and this fiscal note is from PEB. I reached out to PEB and asked about the fiscal note. The response said the fiscal note came from Express Scripts, which is PEB's pharmacy benefit manager. Express Scripts determined that it would be a net cost increase because they, the PBM, wouldn't be getting the manufacturer's rebates. Although this is the fiscal committee, the policy here is necessary because it's unclear how to respond to this when Express Scripts is both the pharmacy benefit manager and a pharmacy and is part of the vertically integrated system that AB 259 seeks to cut through. To be clear, this bill, the idea is there is a negotiated price between the manufacturer and the federal government, and that is the actual price of the drug that would be in the state of Nevada under AB 259. So having the fiscal note state that the reason that there is a fiscal note is because the PBM won't get the rebates if they utilize the maximum fair negotiated price for a very limited number of drugs for a very limited number of people who are in real need of life-sustaining drugs is unclear, because the intent of AB 259 is that negotiated price is the price, and sort of to bypass the pharmacy benefit manager kickback rebate program. So I'm open to any answers or any questions that I am able to answer. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you so much for presenting this. Members, any questions? Assembly Member Bacchus.
Thank you so much, Chair. I mean, I kind of am curious. I don't know if we have anyone from the Public Employees Benefit Program here today, but I would love to welcome you up to kind of just to hearing Assemblymember Considine explain the process. I'm just curious with respect to how PEB is in fact impacted by the rebate. In this situation, it seems like there would be a set price, so we're not going to do the price that's being sold and then a rebate going back to the Express Script. I'm trying to see I would like to hear more from PEB on how that would apply.
This is Celestina Glover, for the record, Executive Officer for the Public Employees Benefits Program. So the information provided to us by the PBM indicated that they expect a price increase that PEB would pay, $1.50 per member per month, and this is for covered lives, a little over 51,000. As related to the rebates, certain drug manufacturers provide rebates for certain drugs. Those rebates are passed on to PEB, and it is part of our revenue stream to offset the cost of drugs. So if those rebates don't come in, then obviously the cost to the program goes up, either through premium, employer contribution, a combination of both.
And then, because I kind of have a follow-up. I mean, I'm struggling, and I think it's just kind of what it works right now with the contract and what you're hearing from Express Script. Did, in the 2023 session, was PEB still contracting with Express Script, and why was it in the 2023 session there was not any fiscal pack, and now we're having one this session when kind of federally we're kind of following suit of the federal implementation of the cost savings?
Again, this is Celestina Glover, for the record. So I went back and looked at our records. I was not here for the 2023 session. It looks like PEB was not asked for a fiscal note at that point. Our internal records tracking the bill indicated that with the information they had at the time, should they have provided a fiscal note, it would have been unable to determine, because they didn't have a list of the drugs that would be affected to figure out that calculation. So I'm not sure if they actually asked ESI, who was our PBM at the time, our pharmacy benefits manager. So I'm not sure if we would have gotten a similar feedback, but with the data we have currently, that is what they've given us.
And I believe the DHHS pharmacist is here in the room. If you could join us at the table as well. Good morning. If you could just give us a little more insight and information into how this measure would impact.
Good morning, or afternoon. Good morning. It's Dr. Duncan, Division of Healthcare Finance and Policy, Pharmacy Director. So for the division, we did enter that there would be a fiscal impact for this bill, but it is indeterminable and it could be significant. And this has to do with the potential shift in utilization of this subset of drugs, which causes a shift in the compliance to our preferred drug list. that shift could then impact the supplemental drug rebates that we receive that benefits the state general fund. Excuse me, that benefits the state general fund. And I can elaborate if there are additional questions as well.
Don't leave. We do have two members with questions right now. There may be more, but you might be the person to ask them to. So I'm going to go to Majority Leader Hodeggy and then Assembly Member Anderson.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions, Chair. And I just kind of want to piggyback on what my colleague was asking. And again, this is not knowing how the relationship with pharmacy benefit managers work and the state and the federal government. So the state PEB works with a pharmacy benefit manager. Does Medicare work with a pharmacy benefit manager too? And on a federal level, do you know if Medicare was eligible to receive rebates? Because Medicare is now offering these negotiated drug prices. And so are they also now ineligible to receive rebates?
Chair, committee members, Dr. Duncan for the record. I can't speak to the inner workings of Medicare since Medicaid does function slightly differently, but I do know that the establishment of this program through the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Medicare Drug Price Negotiation Program negotiates on a subset of drugs. And the maximum fair price that is determined is then applicable to Medicare eligible individuals only.
Assembly Member Anderson.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation and information. My question actually has to do with the fiscal note, that it's $1.50 per member per month. Does that every member of PEB or only the members that are utilizing the pharmaceutical items that are on this list?
This is Celestina Glover for the record. That is every member, and in this case, the way the PBM charges us or calculates the cost is across our covered lives. So we're talking dependents and primaries, actives and retirees that are covered under our plans.
So it does not matter if a member of PEB is utilizing the items that we're actually trying to help get this information through. It's just, that's how this contract is done. Is that what I'm understanding?
This is Celestina Glover for the record. That is how the calculations are done. That's how we pay the PBM, regardless of whether the member is actually utilizing any prescription medications. The way the rates are set and the administrative fees, we spread it out across the entire population. Otherwise, you'd have one group paying $1 amount, another group paying a different amount. So those that are healthy and don't use medical or pharmacy benefits help offset the cost to those that do.
Thank you. And that is customary with insurance in general, from what I know, and it's very little, I'll be honest, about insurance. But if keeping the same rate across the board for everyone, you know, insurance is great when you're healthy, but when you need it, when you're sick, those healthy people offset the cost of those added costs of those that unfortunately go through health situations. And this, and what you're doing with the rebates, or you're utilizing that the same way, is how I understand it. Is that correct?
This is Celestina Glover for the record. That's correct. So if we receive $1 million in rebates, that's applied across the board to all our self-funded plans. So everybody benefits because, like you said, the healthy really do subsidize those that are not healthy. Non-medication users subsidize those that do use medications.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Assembly Member Heidegger.
Thank you. And I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly. So the manufacturers have point blank said that they would not offer rebates to on these drugs. So that's certain. We know that for certain.
This is Celestina Glover for the record. I don't know that the manufacturers told ESI this. What ESI said was they compared the MFP, so those pricing, against our ingredient costs, because that is a component of what we pay for. And the net effect was a $1.50 increase to what our contracts currently provide.
If I may, Venetia Constantine for the record. First, I wanted to go back to the Medicare question. When this was negotiated, this was to take these specific drugs. There's 10 of them right now that have no competition, and they are the highest cost and the biggest need. And that is why those were separated outside of the current structure that does exist, which includes your PBMs and your rebates and all of those things. So that is what the bill is meant to do, is just to follow those 10. And those negotiated drugs are negotiated directly between the manufacturer and the government. So it's not the PBM that's in that negotiation. It's not that vertically integrated Express Scripts, them as a pharmacy, them as a benefits manager, and then the insurer, that whole, integrated vertical system. This is to sort of bypass those systems because these are very expensive and very much in need, and they are life-sustaining, and they don't have any competition.
Members, any other questions? All right, not seeing any. Thank you so much. We'll call to the table anyone that's here to testify in support of Assembly Bill 259. Not seeing anyone approach the table here in Carson City, and no one at the table in Las Vegas. We'll go to our phone line. Do we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 259?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 259, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers for support.
Thank you so much. We'll move to opposition. If there's anyone here that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 259, I invite you to the tables, both here in Carson City and in Las Vegas. And not seeing anyone approach either table, we'll go to the phone lines a second time. Do we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 259?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 259, please press star 9 to join the queue.
Great. Good morning, dear Madam Chair Moreno and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Primo Castro, State Government Affairs Director with the Biotechnology Innovation Organization. BIO is the largest trade group representing more than 1,100 biotech companies, academic institutions, state biotech centers, and related organizations across the United States and 31 other nations that are involved in the research and development of healthcare, agricultural, industrial, and environmental biotech products. BIO opposes AB 259, which would set caps on the price paid for prescription drugs in Nevada based on the maximum fair price as determined pursuant to the IRA of 2022. This bill's imposition of a maximum fair price would not have the effect that proponents of this bill intend and would instead risk access to medicines that many patients depend on. Many pharmacies and hospitals purchase medicines through national or regional buying groups or national contracts based on national pricing indexes and transactions that occur out of state. As a result, those transactions would not be subject to the price limits in this bill, but the price and state providers charge patients would be subject to the limits. Out-of-pocket costs have been rising for patients because of decisions made by health insurance. In fact, insurers require patients to pay almost 5 times more out-of-pocket for prescription drugs than for hospital care. These proposed price drug controls disregard and may even interfere with the market-based ecosystem of the U.S. healthcare sector. The maximum fair price approach does not provide adequate context for the complex issue of pricing, which is based not just on manufacturers' costs, but also on market forces and an assessment of value that cannot simply be reduced to a line on the balance sheet. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Adam Porth, ADAMPORATH, and I represent the Nevada Society of Health System Pharmacists. NBSHP represents the pharmacists and pharmacy technicians working in our hospitals and health systems in Nevada, and we're in strong opposition of AB 259. AB 259 attempts to extend MFP to all patients in our state. It sounds like a simple solution for drug pricing. However, this bill does not consider how the MFP is being handled at the federal level. It is not a direct discount on the purchase price to pharmacies. There's a complex system of qualification that is proposed to happen through a newly formed Medicare transaction facilitator. No such mechanism at the state level is proposed or funded by AB 259. Pharmacies would be forced to buy drugs at the wholesale price and sell them for MFP plus a dispensing fee. This would put pharmacies in a position to lose money on every transaction for these drugs or simply not offer them for sale. Either way, this unintended consequence of the proposed legislation is bad for Nevada pharmacies and bad for our patients. Additionally, unlike the federal legislation and rules around Medicare price negotiation, AB 259 is silent on how to treat prescription transactions that would otherwise be eligible for the 340B drug pricing program. Extending MFP to all Nevada patients undercuts the benefits of this program to all of the safety net providers in our state and threatens to decrease access to care to our most vulnerable patients. While well-intentioned, we believe that AB 259 is bad policy as written and would only lead to negative outcomes if passed. NBSHP would urge the committee to vote no on AB 259. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, we have no additional callers choosing to testify.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to neutral. If there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 259, I invite you to the tables in Carson City and Las Vegas. And not seeing anyone approach either table, we will go back to the phone line one last time to see if there's anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 259.
If you would like to testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 259, please press star 9 now to join the queue.
Hello, many apologies. I meant to testify in opposition. Is that okay to do at this moment?
We will move your testimony to opposition. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, and apologize for the mishap. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Kyle Ficola, and I'm the Director of State Policy for Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America. I am respectfully testifying in opposition to AB 259. We can agree that affordable access to prescription drugs is critically important for Nevadans, so we just agree that this bill will accomplish that goal. I will focus my remarks on the fiscal impacts of the bill. This year, the state has recognized that the implementation of this bill will cost money. As was discussed today, the Public Employees Benefits Program estimates that this could cost almost $1 million during 2026 and 27, and $1.8 million during future biennia. Just a side note here, by 2030, the MFP provisions of the IRA could impact 80 drugs, and so the impact to the state employees health, the employees benefit program could increase as more drugs get added. It will take significant resources for Nevada to pass and implement the provisions of AB 259. Nevada will have to create brand new infrastructure, just like the Medicare program did at the federal level, to implement this. A recent study from the Pacific Research Institute found that this could cost Nevada taxpayers $2.3 million annually to implement, and that does not include any technology investments that they may need. And lastly, I'd also like to point out that the federal government has had to provide significant and additional resources since the passage of the IRA for its MFP policies. The Biden administration created the Premium Stabilization Demonstration Project. This pilot allocated an additional $5 billion to dampen the cost of MFP to prevent Medicare premiums from going up. For all of these reasons, we ask that you vote no on AB 259 and ask that you look at proven policies that can reduce prescription drug costs for Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Broadcast, do we have any callers joining us that would like to testify in the neutral position on Assembly Bill 259.
If you've recently joined us and would like to testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 259, please press star 9 to join the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral testimony.
Thank you so much. We'll ask the sponsor of the bill if she has any closing comments.
Thank you, Venetia Consultant, for the record. I brought this bill now for the second time because it's about people. And I believe that if a 66-year-old with blood cancer has an ability to afford a life-sustaining drug, that a 14-year-old shouldn't have put their family through not being able to pay their rent or to buy food on the table because they have to pay an astronomical price for some of these prescription drugs. This is a way to provide health care for Nevadans, and I just want to point out that if we're discussing the opaqueness of how vertical integration and rebates and PBMs and insurers and all of that is the point of the discussion, we are not discussing the point of this bill, which is about helping and saving people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 259. And we will move on to the next bill on our agenda and open the hearing on Assembly Bill 402. 402 is a measure which creates a pilot program authorizing the installation and use of automated traffic enforcement systems in temporary traffic control zones. And we'll invite Assembly Member Torres Fawcett to the table. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Moreno and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Assembly Member Selena Torres Fawcett, representing Assembly District 3, and I'm excited to be back here for the fourth time this week. But of course, I've been here every single day, so I'm really excited. I'm going to go through a quick summary of the bill. This bill has already had a policy conversation, so I'll be focusing a little bit more on the fiscal note. The bill permits the Nevada Department of Transportation, local authorities, and regional transportation commissions to create a pilot program that authorizes the installation and use of traffic cameras in temporary traffic control zones. This would only apply where highway construction maintenance or repair is being conducted and when workers are present to enforce infractions of 10 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. So at this point, that means that this is only applying to individuals that are speeding in construction zones and going more than 10 miles over the speed limit, which is obviously a safety concern for those workers that are working. A peace officer would review any evidence captured by a traffic camera before issuing a civil infraction citation that is capped at $200 with a $100 bond cap. Any data and pictures collected may only be retained by the law enforcement agency issuing such a citation, and any money collected from citations generated during an automatic traffic enforcement system that exceeds the cost of operating the system may be used to fund public infrastructure. We do have a couple proposed amendments before you today. The first part of the amendment amends Section 2.2 to require NDOT, a local authority or regional transportation authority, authorizing the use of the automated traffic enforcement to solicit bids for the service in accordance with the NRS. It adds that proposals or contracts must include a requirement that the number of citations issued over the duration of the project can be tracked and reported to the project owner. It adds a requirement that any public owner using automatic traffic enforcement shall submit data on the number of citations issued over the duration of a project to the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Growth and Infrastructure by June 30th of each year of the pilot project. And it adds a provision that automated traffic enforcement cannot be used against an employee for progressive discipline. There is a fiscal note that has been removed upon the first reprint of AB 402. The fiscal note from NDOT was removed on April 22nd. Yes. Annual maintenance and public outreach for this pilot program are anticipated to be financed by the citation revenue of the traffic enforcement system vendor. At this time, I'll go ahead and, do you want to go ahead? I'll go ahead and pass it just so she can give remarks. She helped with some of the discussions and fiscal notes, and then we'll be supporting any questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Alexis Motorex with the Nevada Chapter Associated General Contractors. As far as this goes, I don't have anything necessarily to add unless there are questions, or I can just go straight into my support testimony of our bill.
We'll hold off a little bit before the support testimony. I know we have just a few questions, and I have two. What is the total anticipated cost to the Department of Transportation, and what is the projected amount of citation revenue anticipated to be collected as amended if this bill is approved?
Assemblymember Torres Fawcett. So this piece of legislation has no fiscal note at this time with NDOT, and the reason for that is because it's permissive language that allows for them to do that, and then they would be able to use the funds that they receive from that citation revenue. I mean, it would depend how many individuals are speeding, and then they could work with the vendors on deciding where those programs are necessary. So essentially, this bill doesn't say or require that traffic enforcement cameras would be implemented immediately. It would take quite a bit of time, and this is, I believe, and this is a pilot program. I can't remember the number of years at the top of my head. We had so many conversations. 4 years. Thank you, Assemblymember O'Neill. So it's a 4-year pilot program, so it's really limited to just a couple years, and then we can determine whether or not this is something that we would like to continue as a state.
And then how would the upfront cost be funded for the automatic traffic enforcement system, the system itself?
Assemblymember Torres Fawcett for the record. So right now, this is giving them permissive authority to use their budgets to do this work. But then obviously any funds that were accrued from the citations would then be used to first pay for the operating costs.
And then I'm sure this has been done in other states. Are there vendors out there that supply the system, the enforcement systems, and have they installed and covered the upfront costs for themselves in other states? How's that worked?
Alexis Motorex with the Nevada Chapter Associated General Contractors. I have spoken with vendors of this, so yes, they do exist across the country. I've deliberately tried to stay away from engaging too much with them because I didn't want there to be a perception that we were partnering with any one vendor for this. But I think that there are different contract types, and yes, there are some vendors that would cover the upfront costs, and then that set amount of what the contract would cost would then be reimbursed through those through the fines collected, and then I think there are a variety, and that could be determined with the public owner who's choosing to use this on their job sites.
Thank you so much for that. Members, any other questions? Assemblymember Bacchus.
Thank you so much, Chair. And this kind of follows the Chair's first question, because I remember even though we were having a policy discussion in growth and infrastructure, we were also kind of intrigued by where the money was going, and maybe I was just intrigued with that. And I remember section 2, I was looking, and it's the amended version, but some of this money is going to be going to different localities, right? So like whoever implements like the citation, it could end up going to like a local municipality, local government, or state of Nevada, depending on where it's being issued. 2.6. I'm looking at 2.6, page 6, lines 18 to 28. So page 6, lines 18 to 28.
Can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify, because I know the Chair, we were curious, like kind of what type of like revenue will be coming in, but to further compound like that unknown, the revenue that could be collected from the citation could end up going to whatever the governing jurisdiction of where the citation's issued. So that could be local government or the state of Nevada, just depending on what roadways are being worked, right?
That is correct. It's Assemblymember Torres Fawcett for the record.
Members, any other questions? All right, not seeing any. Thank you so much for the presentation, and we'll invite to the testimony table anyone that is here to testify in support of Assembly Bill 402.
Thank you, and good morning again. Alexis Motorex with the Nevada Chapter Associated General Contractors, here obviously in support of AB 402. And I'd like to thank the sponsor for introducing this important bill, and thank you for making the time to hear it this morning. With the fiscal note removed, we respectfully ask that you pass this bill, which serves to provide a safer work environment for the hardworking men and women who build and maintain Nevada's roads.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Eloy Hara, Business Manager of Labor's Local 169, for the record. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the council. I'm here in strong support of the bill. So, in all caps. So for us, what this bill means, it's about saving lives. I mean, yes, there can be a lot of educated questions in regards to what's going to happen, the revenue and all that. But for us, I represent the flaggers, the traffic control technicians, the traffic control supervisors, a lot of the people that are building the highways. And for us, this means about saving lives. So thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Thomas Morley, representing Labor's Local 872. For once, labor and management are saying kumbaya on this issue. It's not very often that happens. As in my former capacity as a labor union rep, I had to inform several spouses that their significant other was not coming home, and had to explain once to a 12-year-old boy that his mother was not coming home. And if this can avoid those situations and the personal losses, we're all behind it. Thank you.
Chair and members of the committee, Jessica Ferrato here today on behalf of Granite Construction in support of the bill. Just want to thank the sponsor and the AGC for all the work that's been put into this, and urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Reeder on behalf of the Nevada Contractors Association, also in support. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Monroe, Ron Moreno, and committee members. I'm Joe Harrington, the Communications Director for NDOT, HARRINGTON for the record. With the modifications through the amendment, we believe there is no fiscal impact to NDOT, and a vendor would end up fronting the costs here. With our fiscal note reduced to zero, we are in support from a fiscal perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else here in Carson City to testify in support, and not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas, we'll go to our phone lines. Do we have anyone joining us by phone that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 402?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 402, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for support.
Thank you so much. We'll move to opposition. If there's anyone that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 402, I invite you to the table. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair and committee members. My name is Nick Shepak, Nickshepak. I am the Nevada State Director of the Fines and Fees Justice Center. While we do have some policy concerns, I will keep it fully fiscal in this committee. The Fines and Fees Justice Center does a lot of research and a lot of work on automated traffic enforcement across the country. And what we have found is that there is a cost either to the public because you're writing enough tickets to support this program, which usually generally means the program is not very effective in reducing speeding, or it works, you reduce enough speeding, but then that cost has to be borne by the local or state government. We have seen states go into debt. We've seen local governments go into debt. We do have concerns that this may appear revenue neutral, but when you roll out a program like this, you may actually see costs down the road. Those are our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning. Paloma Guerrero, PALOMAGUERRERO, on behalf of the Clark County Public Defender's Office. I just want to echo Nick Shepak and provide that in Sacramento, the red light program there had to be shut down in March of 2024 because it cost the county $898,000 per year, which is higher than the money generated from violation of these tickets. I think that the reprint from the Nevada Department of Transportation makes it seem like it would cost $0, but has no information of what they expect to be the revenue for these tickets and what the upfront cost would be. So it's very possible that here we're going to end up in a similar situation where it's going to end up costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. And for those reasons, we oppose.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Monroe Moreno, members of the committee, Kayla Maese, Kaylah Maese, Civil Rights Analyst with the ACLU of Nevada. ACLU of Nevada remains in opposition of AB 402. This policy undermines civil liberties and privacy interest. The claim of a $0 fiscal note is dubious, namely because under NRS 711, these cameras could actually be deployed on any roadway where traffic exists and not just interstate highways, and there are no details about the cost of the systems to be deployed here. The state should not be generating revenue in this fashion if this is the basis for the $0 fiscal note. If these automated enforcement systems fail to generate enough citations to offset their significant cost, the financial burden will fall squarely on the shoulder of our state's residents. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I had a very late night last night. My name is Janine Hansen. I'm the state president of Nevada Families for Freedom, and I agree with those that have gone before. I do think there are concerns that have not been addressed about the fiscal note. But my greatest concern is that we know this has been changed to a pilot program, but we always know that the purpose of a pilot program is to make sure we get an extensive program in the future. We've seen that repeatedly in this legislature, and we can anticipate that this is the beginning. It will expand in the future session and expand after that and expand after that. We've seen these kinds of things happen repeatedly over the years, and I certainly have because I've been here a long time. But I would suggest that these concerns that we have will be more expensive in the future, but also it will impact privacy. It will give opportunity for government surveillance. And one of the issues that's happened in many other states for citizens is that it becomes a revenuing mechanism where the government uses it to create a revenue stream, like they've done in several places like Washington, D.C. Nevada law currently prohibits automated traffic enforcement. We don't want this nose of the camel under the tent to destroy that law. We understand there are problems, but we don't want to give up our liberty in order for safety. We think this is really a bad idea, and a pilot program just means we'll get more in the future, and we don't want it. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else approach the table here in Carson City to testify in opposition and no one at the table in Las Vegas, we'll go to our phone line to see if we have anyone that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 402.
To testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 402, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits, 947, please press star 6 to unmute.
Hi, good morning. Noemi Abrego again. So this seems like a great bill, but ultimately, yes, it falls on the taxpayers. But one problem we do have here is plateless cars. I don't know if there has been any bills that address that problem, but I nearly got hit by a Tesla this morning, no plate. So are those cars being, looked at or looked into? There has been other states that have had they had to remove the red light cameras because the Institute for Highway Safety says that 14 cities that removed these red lights, 30% of the increase in fatal red light running crashes increased by 16%, and all fatal crashes at signalized intersections. However, specific cities' names are not provided in the available data. And my baby's sucking the air out of me. Okay, it's worth noting that laws and regulations regarding red light cameras and speed cameras can change. So this information might not be comprehensive or up to date. But my biggest concern is like what is the information on how they're going to get these drivers if the VIN number, I mean, if it's not going to show a plate or anything like that. Like a lot of hit and runs, that's what they do. Like it doesn't matter to them. So, you know, the law doesn't matter to them. So they're just running off and not paying for their, you know, license plates and stuff. So that's my biggest concern. And I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kimberly Fergus, Fergus. I rise in strong opposition to Assembly Bill 402, which creates a so-called pilot program for automated traffic enforcement systems in temporary traffic controlled zones. While it's framed as limited, Section 2.2 explicitly authorizes the installation of unmanned surveillance systems that capture and find drivers automatically. It's a dangerous step towards permanent government surveillance, as all the other testimonies have mentioned. Section 2.3 creates a rebuttal presumption that the vehicle owner is the driver, flipping due process on its head. That violates the very spirit of our justice system. The burden of proof should never rest on the citizen. The bill claims violations will not count as moving violations under NRS 483.473, and while that may spare drivers demerit points, it confirms this is not about safety, it's about revenue. The physical note shows impact on the state, and Section 2.6 allows civil penalties up to $200. And I think you removed that. I'm not sure. With excess revenue directed to unelected boards not returned to the people. This mirrors surveillance practices in authoritarian states like China, where cameras and AI issues tickets without human discretion or content. We should not test this in Nevada. We should reject it entirely. Please vote no on AB 402 and stop the overreach before it becomes permanent. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning, Chair and Committee. My name is Jim DeGraffenreid, JimDeGraffenreid. I'm Nevada's Republican National Committeeman here today in opposition to AB 402 on behalf of the Nevada Republican Party. We agree with Janine Hansen that this pilot program will likely lead to increased surveillance and reduced privacy in the future, along with increased expense. We're primarily concerned today about the fiscal burden on Nevadans for such a program. NDOT did remove their fiscal note, expecting that fines collected would cover the costs of personnel, equipment, and maintenance, which the original fiscal note estimated at just over $5 million in this biennium and about $2 million going forward. However, we think the questions regarding the initial stand-up costs were appropriate, and we share concerns about whether those will be covered, in fact, by outside vendors. While the amendment has eliminated paying vendors per citation, we're not comfortable that it will eliminate the revenue incentive for government agencies. Despite the stated intent for this bill to not generate additional revenue, automatic systems do generate more citations than a human officer can and at a lower cost. We're concerned that the worthy goal of increasing safety will take a backseat to generating more revenue for the government. Because Section 2.6 of the bill designates any profit from this program to be directed to road funds, we believe there will be a strong incentive for this to be a revenue generator. We all care about the safety of hardworking road workers who should not have to do their jobs in fear of dangerous drivers. I was a firefighter for 20 years and worked more accident scenes than I can count. I understand firsthand the dangers faced by highway workers and first responders. However, we ask the legislature to consider alternatives that focus on improving road safety without the financial issues of this bill. Please vote no on AB 402. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hi, my name is Bree Schmidt, BRISCHMIDT, calling to oppose AB 402. I'll ditto the previous callers and just say that generating revenue through ticketing is problematic. Please oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, my name is Crystal Steinbach. That is spelled CRYSTAL. STEINBECK. I'm going to ditto the other callers, and I'm calling to oppose AB 402. There is no way the cost of these cameras or maintenance, which could be placed anywhere, is free. I encourage you to vote no here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Eubanks. I'm calling to oppose AB 402, as there's no way the cost of these cameras or maintenance, which could be placed anywhere, is free. I encourage you to vote no here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, my name is Tara Hartman. I am calling to oppose Assembly Bill 402. I do not believe that there is any way that the cost of these cameras or maintenance, which could be placed anywhere on any road, is free. I really encourage you to vote no here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, Council. My name is Brian Barrera. I'm calling to oppose AB 402. Generating revenue through ticketing is problematic. I encourage you to vote no here. We should not be leaning into taking away due process. We should be considering different alternatives to monitoring road hazards. There has been a lack of clarity from the proposal as to where the revenue will go and what will be done with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, good morning. My name is Christopher Mullen. I am in opposition to AB 402. I find relying on an unreliable revenue source such as ticketing problematic, and along with the unknown cost of the system burden on taxpayers, I am strongly encourage you to vote no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, good morning, Chairwoman and members of the board. My name is Amanda Striano, S-T-R-I-A-N-O. I'm calling to oppose Assembly Bill 402. I believe generating revenue through ticketing is going to be quite problematic to us as taxpayers and those of our law enforcement. I encourage you to vote no here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Perrine, C-Y-N-T-H-I-A-P-E-R-I-N-E. I am in opposition to AB 402 due to the unknown factor of upfront costs and the unknown factor of the revenue stream. It initiates a bad precedence of surveillance of all motorists where installed, invasion of privacy of law-abiding drivers. The system calls for the motorist guilty, and he must prove his innocence, which is bothersome. So I do urge the committee to vote no on AB 402. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. My name is Naomi Joy, and I'm calling to oppose AB 402. I believe the burden of this bill outweighs the benefits, and it's extremely problematic. I urge you to vote no here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Caller with the last three digits, 026. Please press *6 to unmute.
C-A-V-I-O-N. Good morning. My name is Chelsea Cavion, C-A-V-I-O-N, calling to strongly oppose AB 402. As previously stated, I think it's problematic for Nevadans to be surveillanced in this way. We don't want more surveillance, we want less. And generating revenue through ticketing is also an issue. So I encourage you to vote no here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
My name is Mark Pritchard,
Pritchard. I live in Reno. I'm calling to oppose AB 402. I think that generating revenue through an automated system for state or local municipalities is extremely problematic because it would drive the system to increase the number of citations. And I urge you to vote no on AB 402.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Wiz Razar, Deputy State Director with America for Prosperity. I will just ditto all the comments previously to save time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, we have no additional callers in opposition.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to neutral. If there's anyone here in Carson City or in Las Vegas that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 402, I invite you to the tables. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is Christy Defer, D-E-F-E-R. I am the incoming Deputy Director for the Department of Public Safety. With me, I have Major James Simpson representing the Nevada Highway Patrol, and we are here to testify in neutral regarding the Nevada Highway Patrol's fiscal note submitted on AB 402. The bill, as currently written, may have a fiscal impact to the division that is unknown at this time. Specifically, the division has concerns regarding the potential for the responsibilities of reviewing and issuance of citations resulting from automated traffic enforcement systems if installed on roadways that are under the purview of the Nevada Highway Patrol. The Nevada Highway Patrol is nearly 100% highway funded, and unlike the local municipalities, they do not receive any direct revenue from the issuance of citations. So with that, I'll close, and we thank you for your time this morning, Chair and committee members.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Edward Goodrich, EDWARD-GOODRICH. I'm testifying in neutral. However, I do support this bill. I support the concept of this bill. I only ask that an amendment be made to restrict it to actual working hours or whenever people, contractors are present. I'm tired of running to the speed limit or a lower speed limit like on Pyramid Highway when there's nobody there. These things can keep going on Memorial Day weekends. It's been a couple of years now. That's all I ask. Do it while it's active. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else approach the table here in Carson City and no one at the table in Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone lines one last time to see if we have anyone joining us that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 402.
To provide neutral testimony to Assembly Bill 402, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral testimony.
Thank you so much. We'll go back to the presenter for closing comments.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Committee. Assemblymember Selena Torres-Fawcett for the record. I just wanted to note on a couple things that were said in opposition to this bill. I want to clarify that this is for automated traffic enforcement cameras in work zone construction zones while workers are present. That's on page 4, section 2.2 of the bill. Then it clarifies that it has to be construction zone while workers are working. I understand the concern with a lot of our highways being under construction at any given time and just making sure it's limited to when those workers are there. Additionally, this is permissive language for local governments, RTC or NDOT, to have a pilot program for up to 4 years, and then this body can review that data and determine whether or not this program was effective. I can tell you that after having reviewed similar programs in other states, this program did help decrease the amount of individuals speeding. The goal of this bill is not to generate revenue, and I know that was brought up a number of times. The goal of this bill is not to generate revenue. The goal of this bill is to have drivers slow down so that our workers are safe when they are working. And I do think that this would be an effective tool at doing just that. And the data from other states demonstrates that if workers know that there is the potential for them to get this type of citation, then they're more likely to slow down. And that's how we keep our workers safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those closing comments. And with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 402. And members, it is almost 11 o'clock. We didn't do as well today as we did yesterday. So we will be going into recess. We will come back to the Ways and Means Committee meeting later this afternoon after the floor session. So see you after lunch. We'll stand in recess.